Hello and welcome to another rendition of Math is Easy Step by Step. Hey, we're going to talk about solving one-step equations today. Remember, when we're solving one-step equations, we're interested in following the inverse or the opposite operations. And here are some of those inverse or opposite operations we're talking about here. So, of course, the opposite of adding is subtracting, and vice versa. The inverse of subtracting is adding. The inverse to multiplying, or the opposite of multiplying, is dividing. And the opposite of dividing is multiplying. The opposite of an exponent is a square root, and vice versa. The inverse or the opposite of a square root is an exponent. And I'll get a little more further, and I'll try to do an example in for each of these in the videos. And hey, let's just jump right into it. Let's take a look at a set of examples I have set up. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'd like to first review a little bit about understanding how variables represent a real number. So sometimes in these one-step equations, you can guess what that variable represents. It's a real number, right? Remember, variables are symbols. X, Y, Z, happy face, moon, star. They're just symbols to represent a real number. For example, X could be equal to, Y would be 1, and Z would be a half. If this was X, Y, and Z was in one equation, each variable or letter would represent a different real world value, right? All the X's would equal 2, all the Y's would equal 1, and all the Z's would be equal to 1/2. And so again, like I mentioned, sometimes in these one-step equations, you could look and you could perform what's called a guess and check to determine the value of these variables, right? Sometimes you can make an educated guess and check to determine the value of these variables when solving for x, y, and z. So I'm going to show you a brief example here of what I mean. But typically, you're going to want to use the inverse or the opposite operation to solve for the variable x, y, and z. And when I mean inverse, it's the opposite of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, exponents, radicals, square roots. And so here's an example of, you could probably guess what that x value represents here. And sometimes you absolutely can. And I'm hoping to show you in my examples that there are times when you cannot. And you would want to use the inverse operation in order to solve for the value of the variables. So here, what number, x, right? What number, if I was to substitute for x, plus 3 would give me 4? Well, I know 1 plus 3 equals 4. And so I'm going to guess and check. I'm going to say, hey, 1, right? And I could substitute 1 for x. 1 plus 3 is 4. Hey, if 4 equals 4, I know my answer is correct. X equals 1. And that is a guess and check. And sometimes you can absolutely guess and check. What I would like to show you in the next few videos is how to take the inverse operation. And so I have a few videos on variables. I've created some videos on adding and subtracting. using a number line. I have a few videos created where you can add and subtract integers, positive and negative numbers. When you subtract integers, there's a special keep, change I talk about, which will help you understand moving forward. If you would like to review those videos, you absolutely don't have to, but it would be helpful. And so in the next few videos, I'd like to give examples of one-step equations. And remember, one-step equations are one step for a reason, right? If I take the inverse of a positive 3, I subtract 3 to both sides. 3 minus 3 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. X equals 1. So it's one step to get the variable all by itself and to solve. I'll also be showing you how to check your answers. And so I plan to do an example of each of those inverse operations. And at the conclusions of maybe 2 or 3 videos in this series, I'm also going to have a solving two-step equation series that would have multiple videos that you could watch as well. Thank you for joining me. Hey, math is easy. Take it step by step.